What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video.
Oh my god.
So my good friend Larry Lawton just posted this video. It is Ask Me Anything About Sex in Prison, and I was like, bruh, I'm gonna need a female version of that. And I asked you guys on Instagram, and the questions are so crazy and they're so good. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has in fact been to female prison. I don't know why I just said female, I'm so weird. If you guys want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever going to be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel and my podcast. But we have a lot of stuff to cover today, so let's just get right into it. I saw a couple of these already and I'm already scared. How simple is it to do? Seems pretty easy on Orange is the New Black, but it is harder than they portray. Yes, 1,000 times it is hard. No pun intended. Okay, so it's a tricky thing. You have to like get it, you know what I mean? You have to like have foreplay in a line for medical, or on the rec yard real quick and sneaky, or in a shower for 2 seconds. Like all those scenes in Orange is the New Black where they're like so passionate. No, that does not happen like that. It is quick, and you can't just like, there's nothing like passionate or romantic. You don't have time like that. How often does it happen? Every single day in every single prison and jail in America, period. Do people watch? Okay, so yes and no. If you're in an open dorm, you see it and then you have to look away to be respectful, but some people are weird, and yes, some people watch if it's an open dorm. If it's a closed tier and you have your own cell and you know you can slide in there real quick, then it's a little bit different. But in maximum security prison, you're not allowed to go in other people's bed area or other people's cell, and a lot of officers are like watching you 24/7, so it's hard to get it. You know what I mean? There is no privacy in prison, so just assume at all times that someone is watching you. Either the cameras or the other inmates or the guards walking by. Just assume at all times that you are being watched, like a goldfish in a fish tank. Did you ever walk in on someone doing it? Yes! I think every inmate has. This has happened so many different times, and not even just like full like sex scene. I have just kind of been in the wrong place, wrong time, where like I'm in a county jail and a girl's flashing the guys and I'm like talking to the guys in like my prison sign language, not even realizing that behind me there's like boobies in my face. You know, I turn around like, oh shit, I'll move. Sorry. Let a girl know. You know what I mean? Like, let a girl know that you're trying to flash the dudes. I will move. My prison sign language can wait. Like, my bad. Like, I don't judge, but when I'm completely unprepared for that, it's like, whoa. I had to turn off that light because it was like blinding me, and now I've got like yellow dots. Have guards ever forced female inmates to do favors? Yes. Please know that that is illegal. By definition, it is because there is a power struggle and a guard is in charge of inmates. Inmates can't defy direct orders. Now, this has happened where a guard is forcing inmates to do this. Not even just guards, like staff members. I did time in a prison where the chaplain was having sex with 5 of the inmates for like 10 years, dude. 10 years. He had them on a schedule and he would force them to do that. And this was a like decorated person. His name was Kenneth DeWitt, and he worked at the McPherson Women's Prison in Arkansas. Google that shit, dude. It is crazy. And he gave them herpes. Okay. You know, there are some people that if you see, you just want to hit them with your car and then smile in your mugshot. Yeah, that person. Inventive ways ladies create male body parts to have fun with. Yeah, there's tons of recipes. So Jolly Ranchers, and then like a glove, pads, toothbrush holder, pads and a glove, soap, and then a glove so that you're not like getting soap in your body. So gloves are really important, and if you guys have been watching me for some time, you know that that was one of my hustles. I would steal the gloves from medical and then sell them to anyone that wanted to make the toys. I don't judge. And it was a great hustle because people get afraid to steal things in prison. When I talk about stealing, I don't steal from inmates. I've never stolen from another inmate ever. I stole things like gloves, pen, gum, chewing tobacco, cigarettes, a lighter from the officers. I would never steal from an inmate. It's a very different thing. And I know that even when I say that, people are like, stealing is stealing. Prison's a different world. So everything that you think to be true and like morally correct is fuck that, it goes out the window in prison. I would steal garbage, like thermometer covers to make straws. I mean, is it really stealing if they threw it in the garbage?
I I don't think so.
I don't know. But you do what you have to do to survive, point blank period. And if you're judging me for stealing, I know that you've never done a second of time. So moving on. How do people not get caught? No, they do. They do. All the time. Lots of masturbating daily, surely. So yes and no. This is illegal. It is against the rules to masturbate in prison, and Larry Lawton actually filed a lawsuit against the prison because they wrote him up for doing that alone in his cell. He wasn't hurting anyone, wasn't bothering anyone, wasn't like whatever. It is against the rules, and they will take you to solitary confinement for masturbation. I don't know. I don't know why. It's just a thing. You're not allowed to do it. So you have to be very careful with even doing that. Like, it's crazy. Do some women just turn gay for this day? I feel like that is like a judgmental question. We are human beings. We all have needs. When you're lonely and you're with somebody, even of the same gender, I know, crazy, and you're both experiencing the same thing, you're both experiencing the trauma that prison is, you get close to people and you catch feelings for people. It's like a normal thing to want to have a friendship and want to have somebody on your side, and sometimes that turns romantic and sometimes it doesn't. But yes, gay for this day is a very real thing, and that just comes down to how lonely people are, how much they're hurting, you know? It's a really, human beings are very social beings, and it's not normal to deny sex to a human being. You can't masturbate, you can't be in a relationship, like that's not a normal thing, right? So it's very easy to like laugh, like, ha ha ha, you were gay for this day. Like, it's very easy to laugh about that, but until you've experienced that level of trauma and loneliness and pain, and then at the same time you're getting to know somebody that is experiencing the same thing, you have no right to judge because you've never been through it, right? Does it happen as much as it would in a men's prison? So sex in prison is not specific to a gender. It happens in both male and female facilities. I guarantee you it's happening in every jail and every prison in America, either between a staff member and an inmate, CO and an inmate, inmate on inmate. It happens in every prison in America. It's just part of it. How much sex did you have in prison? Zero. I never had sex in prison. Trust me, if I had a prison girlfriend, I would have made that video by now. How long can people have sex for? Because these movies exaggerate. A minute and 30 seconds, 90 seconds. Like, you better get it and quit it. You better get you some and have a lookout. Like, there's a whole thing. Like, I would even be a spotter for a couple that wanted to get it, you know what I mean? And have more than 90 seconds. So you have to be very careful in having a prison relationship. Can you masturbate in your cell with your cellmate in there? You are not technically allowed to do that at all, but inmate rules supersede prison rules. So if you need a minute in the cell to yourself, get it while your bunkie is not there, or say to your bunkie like, hey, I'm gonna get mine, so can you roll out real quick? Openly communicate about it. I will say that a lot of women that I have met in prison are very shy about it and say they don't masturbate and they're embarrassed and they don't want to be like, hey, I'm trying to get one, can you roll out the cell? They don't communicate that and they just secretly do it or whatever. And I don't know why women are like ashamed to talk about that, or women are ashamed to say that they do that. Like, it's a normal thing, it's a natural, like, we all have needs and urges, but a lot of women are like ashamed by that. It's probably because freaking society's stupid, but whatever. Do inmates protect themselves from infections, or do they just not care? Ooh, it's a great question. Now, there really is no way to protect yourself. So say it's a male facility, they're not giving men condoms in prison to protect themselves. They just won't, because they don't want to increase sex. Stop it. Stupid. So the only way to protect yourself is to have an STD test and put in a kite, to ask medical to have it done, or for you and your partner to be honest about, you know, STDs or current things that you have, right? So they do talk about it, and you can get an STD test from the jail. Did people get in trouble if they were caught having sex? Immediately, yes. Immediately you're taken to solitary confinement, and then you probably can't be around that person ever again. So, has anybody made adult toys in prison for personal use or as a side hustle? Everything is a hustle in prison, of course. There are some women that are better at making things than others. Like, I'm really good at making cheesecake. It's a tricky recipe because if you get it wrong, it's just like soup. Well, there are some women that are so good at making toys that they're like very detailed, you know, like veins and stuff. Like, they're creative, they're top-notch level shit, okay? So that is a hustle for some people. Has anybody traded sex for food, good, or money in prison? Now, this is just my experience from what I've seen, but a lot of women that like didn't have money on their books, they would try to date a stud broad so that they were taken care of. And again, this just goes back to survival mode. So yes, that happens, but it's not a talked about thing in the way that you would say, like, it's not like, hey, I will sleep with you for some commissary. No, like, they get into relationships with people if they can provide for them and they can help their basic needs be met, whether that is sexual or monetary. People get into relationships in prison if it serves them in some kind of capacity. Maybe that's, I was lonely, or I really like you because you make me feel good, or it's sexual, or it's like I said, monetary. So there's different reasons for that, but yeah, it happens. It's just not as talked about as you would think. I mean, people will gossip about it. Oh, she's just dating you for your money. Like, people will say that shit, and then the couple will get like a prison tattoo and be hella toxic. Or make like a ring for each other, you know. Isn't it disgusting having sex in such a dirty environment? You always say that prisons are dirty AF. We are not dirty. Inmates are not dirty. Our bed area is not dirty. Our clothes are clean. The showers are dirty. Like, prisons are dirty because like the shower is like slimy. We uphold hygiene to the top fucking level. You know what I mean? Like, you can bounce a quarter off our beds. Everyone is showering and taking care of themselves. And if you're not, that's a whole different video. It's a problem. Hygiene is very, very important in prison. A lot of people will say, oh, if I was in prison, I wouldn't give a shit about washing my hair or doing this or doing that. Yes, you would. If you're gonna live in a dorm with 50 women, you're not gonna wanna be talked about. You're not gonna wanna be called dirty or you stink. You're not gonna want to deal with that. You're gonna conform and you're gonna follow the prison rules. And that's funny. Like, it's a funny dynamic that I see on the internet, because the internet's like, I would do my time this way. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. No, you wouldn't. I've seen it 100 different times. Did hot dogs get cut and carrots so y'all couldn't masturbate? Do you know how like limp a freaking hot dog is? Like, I don't know. I've heard this happening in Florida. I don't remember, if I'm being honest. I don't remember the last time I was served a hot dog in prison. Maybe county jail. Was it cut? I don't know. We don't use hot dogs like that. You know, and carrots, we got like peas and carrots. So yes, they're cut because it comes like that. But we're not using a hot dog. Who wants to masturbate with a semi? I'm just saying, like, shit, no. Do women also rape women in prison? Again, this is my experience. I've never actually seen a woman take it from another woman. I have seen things be very calculated and manipulative. I've seen women kind of push. You know, I've definitely been hit on by women in prison, and some of them were pretty aggressive. So I didn't experience it, and I didn't see someone just outright take it, but I did see people push, you know, and they're like, I'm gonna date you, you're gonna be my girlfriend. And they wear you out with it, you know? So I've definitely seen women be aggressive, but I've never actually seen a woman rape another woman. Do people get SA assaulted in prison? I've never seen a female inmate SA another female inmate. Guards an inmate, different thing. Completely different. I have seen officers get into relationships with inmates and coerce or force them or intimidate them into sexual relationships. So yes, I've seen that, but inmate on inmate, I have not seen it in the way that you would think. Is it inevitable, and if so, why? Because we're human beings that want connection and love, and we have physical needs. Sex and intimacy is a physical need that human beings have. So that is why it is inevitable. To deny people in prison to have their basic needs met and then act shocked when they're having sex with each other? Maybe reinstate conjugal visits. Reinstating conjugal visits would do so much for the morale of prison. Men are not gonna stab each other as often. They're not gonna be raged out. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna be calm so that I can see my wife and kids and get my conjugal visit. And it's not just about sex, it's about keeping families together. So if they have this reward of something so positive and intimate with their family, they're not going to have sex with each other, kill each other. The violence is going to be cut in half. I promise you that. I think Larry Lyons even talked about that extensively. But when you go to prison, your family falls to fucking pieces. You lose your family. Your kids grow up without their parent. So when we have conjugal visits and like weekends with the family, that is how you keep your family together. I just think it's so important. And we don't treat human beings like they're human beings. We treat them like they're animals, and then we act surprised that they're acting like animals. How risky is it shooting the shot with a guard that a female might like? It's very risky. But you don't just walk up to a guard and say, yo, let me get that dick. No, it starts with a look. And maybe he looked back at you, she looked back at you. And it's like a moment, right? And then the next day, same thing. 2 weeks from now, maybe you walk too close to him, maybe you touch his arm, right? Then maybe a week after that, maybe you slip him a kite. And then maybe if he responds with a kite or she responds with a kite, ooh, you're in it. So it takes time. And it doesn't start with, hey, you wanna fuck in the closet? Like, no, it starts very, very slow with just a look, just basic eye contact. And over time, you get closer and closer to the officer, but it is risky. That first kite is the most risky thing you could do because that officer can immediately take that inmate to seg. So you have to be very, very careful, and you shouldn't do it. Like, don't do it. Don't date a guard. Don't date a guard. Don't do it. For me personally, I had such an authority issue especially as a very troubled teen. I hated cops. I hated corrections officers. I hated anybody in authority over me. And over time, I've worked through that, and I'm very different in how I think about that now. But while I was there, I hated them. I hated the system. I knew how broken it was. I was so angry. I would just wake up angry. I remember being so young thinking I was going to change the system. And now I realize in my 30s, it's going to take years to undo all of the damage the American prison system has done for this country. It's gonna take decades. I'm gonna be talking about prison reform on my deathbed. Do women sleep with male guards? Gender is not relevant. Guards sleep with inmates no matter what they are, and there are homosexual relationships, heterosexual relationships that happen between staff and inmates. It just happens. What happens if a female inmate gets pregnant? So they will investigate. A lot of times the inmate folds under questioning. The DNA test is done and the child will go into foster care or go with family members of the incarcerated person. The officer will be charged. That was a juicy one. That was crazy. If you wanted to see a part 2, ask me some questions in the comment section down below. But I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, whatever that looks like to you. Don't break the law. I can teach you all this shit here. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and I will see you in my next one.